Hello! Welcome to Scholar About Tarot. Just call me Mayfield, and thanks a ton for stopping by the study space. It seems like everyone was doing or planning to do a check-in, and I felt left out, so I decided to hop on camera and do a VR to the mid-year tarot tag. Try saying that like 15 times. I know I can't. This tag was initiated by Spirited Stardust not that long ago, and I found out about it through Niam Witch, whose channel name I probably just butchered. Sorry in advance if I got that wrong. I also watched Crescent Moon and another VR, what was it? Intuitive Whispers VR as well, so I'll make sure I link all of the relevant videos in the description below. Basically, this tag is really just what it sounds like, a check-in for the decks that you've been working with throughout the year. It is kind of late for me to be doing it. We're a little over halfway through the year, but I wanted to do it anyways because June and July lasted like 15 seconds. So here we are. We've got 10 prompts to answer. Let's just jump right in. Favorite deck of 2023? For me, that's actually going to be the Cosmovisions by James R. Eads. I did receive his Green Glyphs collection recently, but I haven't even begun to work with it because I've just been so preoccupied with working with the Cosmovisions instead. It feels great in my hands, and ever since recording the VR for deconstructing my tarot collection, I've wanted to dive a little deeper into it. I've had nothing but meaningful experiences with it, and I definitely credit the postmodern, dreamlike art. New deck of 2023. I'm going to give that to the Okana Oracle. I found this on eBay. Here are the backs, by the way. Not exactly a new deck, but new to me. The Okana Oracle is by Lolu, most famous for her Akamara Tarot. This is also the Guide edition, where all of the line work is a brilliant purple. I think I spent around $43 US for it. Definitely worth it considering the quality of the cards, because under ordinary circumstances, I usually don't buy Oracle decks unless there's like a certain number of cards. I forget how many cards is in this one. Let me take a look really quickly. There is 27 cards if I counted that correctly. But anyways, I'm really glad that this deck made its way into my collection. I've used it monthly at this point, and it makes for really good shadow work. My most anticipated release was Tarot of the Crystal World by Brooke Penrose. Here are the backs. I was really excited to receive this deck. It's the type of work that some people would overlook, and yet it ends up being like this decently sought after hidden gem because of how accessible and artistically authentic it is. It did not disappoint when I received it. I think my favorite part is perhaps the Oracle. Let me show you that one really quick. These are the backs for the Oracle. My favorite card is the Gamer. It's a very raw deck that prompts you to just frolic within yourself. This prompt does also get an honorable mention as I continue flipping through the Tarot of the Crystal World, by the way, and I'm going to say that that's going to go to the Green Glyphs collection, which I don't have in front of me. It's in another room. Niam Witch mentioned that she got her pledge in early June. I didn't get mine until mid-July, and I live like an hour and a half away from their warehouse. However, it's because the price point that made me froth at the mouth for it, not for the thing itself. I just had an incident where the post office may have lost a really expensive weeaboo bag that I pre-ordered. I got a replacement, but the experience was not a fun one to resolve, and it made me super nervous for when the Green Glyphs collection was finally in transit. time. I would like to begin by formally apologizing for getting my facts completely wrong about the Tarot of the Liminal Spaces back in the AI video. Even before the package arrived, I knew this was just not gonna work out. What had happened was, I put the deck in my Etsy cart. About an hour passes, I get a 5% off coupon from the seller. I put in the order. 30 minutes passed, and I get a message from the seller. He's basically just inquiring about how I heard about the deck, because he had put a post on Facebook basically marketing his product, and he wanted to see if it was working. And I just told him, like, no, I was just looking for a deck on Liminal Spaces, and here it was. And I just added on my own little question. I'm like, question for you, is this deck AI generated, curated photos, or like, I don't know, like photoshopped or something like that? And I also like add on like maybe a little bit of column B and column C. I'm hoping that he's gonna lie to me and say totally, but that's not really what happened. As I waited his response, I revisit the item description, and a couple paragraphs down, it says, generated from the void. Uh-oh. My heart sank. Not long after, he does confirm that he curated a bunch of photos, jammed it into Midjourney, and edited it to his liking. And I said, right. So generated from the void is code for AI. And at this point, he knew that I knew I had made a oopsie. He quickly responds with something along the lines of, you won't be disappointed. It really enhances the creepiness. I didn't even respond. I was just so jaded. To address the elephant in the room, why didn't I just return it? I could have done it easily. Like, we were having this conversation literally right after I hit the buy button. I could have just canceled it. Well, I didn't have the heart to. The seller sounded so excited about getting a sale. He was so excited to explain his process. And when I eventually did receive the package, he included a piece of paper with his needy scrawl on it, thanking me for supporting his small business. I know, I'm a big softie, and it can be a problem sometimes. Now, I was totally prepared to unpack it and just immediately Kobe it right into the purgatory box. Which that's where it is right now, by the way. But for science, I did actually flip through the deck. I regret to inform you, dear seller, that the cards that look most like a real photo slap way harder than the cards that obviously looked like they were AI generated. I understand the photos that you most likely collected were perhaps either protected by copyright, or you just didn't have the permission from those who took those photos or made those photos. If they were also AI generated, I wouldn't know. Hence why I guess you felt the need to ram them into Midjourney. But if you don't have the access or ability to exercise human illustration, maybe you see what's up with photography. I bet you could really make some awesome tarot decks from just what you photograph. It's just a thought. Just to sate your curiosity, I'll bite and show you a couple of the cards. And I mean like a couple. The backs are not my cup of tea, but to be fair, I wouldn't really know what to do for a... Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. I know exactly what you could do for a deck for liminal spaces. Just do checkerboard floors. Easy. This one looks AI generated. Sorry if the glare is catching. You can also tell that there's like a person in there, and I think it's generally understood that having people in a photo or an image that's supposed to feel like a liminal space isn't liminal space. There's only supposed to be traces of people. So like this one looks like an actual photo. This is a Hierophant, and it basically depicts a church with empty pews. That one's pretty good. One of the particularly bad ones, it's usually when it's like super nonsensical. The sun was kind of weird. Like, I don't even know what this is. This is a good one though, because it looks like it's an actual image. Yeah. So yeah, if you're new and you have no idea what the big deal is for AI generated decks, I invite you to check out my video on the topic. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the matter. My biggest surprise was the masculine archetype deck from Hero Rise. This is the backs. This was such a big surprise that I resurrected it from my purgatory box. Earlier this year, I received the Witch Oracle, and shortly after, there was a small buzz of discourse due to problematic references in the guidebook raised by Cody from Tarot Readings of a Bitch. Link in the description if you're curious. There were lots of valid concerns that I totally agreed with. Anyways, I needed a deck to compare it to in order to figure out my own complicated feelings towards the Witch Oracle, and I grabbed a different deck that had a foundation in gender identity and performance. That deck was the masculine archetype that you're looking at now. Working with the Witch Oracle made me realize why the masculine archetype was such a valuable tool. This almost became its own video, by the way. Just the way that the masculine archetype invites people from any gender, non-binary, men, women, everything in betwixt, to explore masculine traits that are healthy, that may be toxic, or that are just simply neutral, that structured freedom creates this blank canvas that you can work with. There is indeed something off for me about the Witch Oracle that may be worth exploring, but we'll see if it does eventually get its own video. Deck crush, huh? I think I'm gonna purposefully interpret this prompt in the most inappropriate way possible. No, I'm just kidding, that's another video. I'm gonna give this one to... Oh, good lord, hold on. I have to, like, figure out how to pronounce it again. The Tarot Yohwali Ethekatel. I tried. Yeah, this is definitely my deck crush. I want it to think I'm cool, but I'm just so intimidated by it. I haven't used it. Sorry, I'm like, well, so that's another thing. This thing is massive, right? Give me a second. There we go. This is better. So yeah, I haven't used it really more than a few times because the art and content just really blows me away. There's so much to process, even though it's just an RWS clone. I think it's on my book report list, but I haven't even started reading it because I know it's just going to be a lot of note-taking, some intense research for me to feel comfortable with presenting it, and it's just going to need so much of my attention. It looks absolutely incredible, though. And just so you're aware, it is still available on the creator's Etsy. I mean, yeah, I want you to be aware of that, but I mainly bring that up just to tell you that right now it's in like a new edition where it comes in a 2-piece box, not a tuck box. So just in case you're curious, since I just showed you like a tuck box just now. Decks that I'm most likely going to get next. I did consult my wish list for this question because it's been a really long time since I've looked at my wish list because I just haven't really felt the need to. Most likely the Myths and Legends Tarot by, oh my god, what is her name? Oh, Taylor Byrne. Taylor Byrne? Taylor Bryn? Let's say Taylor Bryn. That sounds right. But yeah, that would probably be the deck that I would get if I got around to even wanting to purchase like another deck. I've honestly hesitated to get this deck because I have so many decks already that are mythology or legend themed. And yeah, I have like the Spirit Keepers, I have the Tarot of the Divine, I have the Spirit Halloween, a lot of spirit decks. And I guess what makes this one a little bit different is primarily the art style, because I feel like that particular art style I can vibe a little bit better with. Not to say that the other ones are like ugly or anything, like far from it. It's just this one is something that can draw me in, I would say. I'm still devastated that I leapt before I looked. For a deck that made me happy, I'm gonna give it to the Cosmovisions once again. Here's the guidebook this time. In addition to what I said earlier, I'll share that Kim from the Abundant Life Tarot had this really cool video on spreads that she created for spiritual hygiene. And what you're seeing now is what I pulled. And I'm trying to make sure I have these in order because I had to grab them. It was just a really nice moment that grounded me on how I'm doing. Not only on how I'm doing, but you know, what support systems I have and you know what I'm doing well. And I'll be sure to link that video too, since it's definitely worth a watch. And for the purposes of this particular spread that she created, this one also needed like an oracle deck too. And just to tie it all together from the Magic and Mediums Oracle, I pulled this one as a kind of like a solution card. Whew, my most beautiful deck. That goes to the Yokai Yochi by Bubo Plague. Oh, I'm dropping things. Oh no. I've showed you guys the backs before. Yeah, I love the art style of this deck so much that I subscribe to Bubo Plague on Patreon. I'm part of their sticker club tier. It's like $5 a month, and I get a sticker with a new design pretty much every month. I am so excited for their August sticker. It's a seraphim, just a bundle of wings with their adorable OC's head just poking out. Sorry, let's get back on topic to the actual cards. So the art style for the Yokai Yochi is very flowy but precise and definitive. When Bubo Plague needs to be fierce, they're fierce. When they need to be serene, they're serene. I feel like this card in particular just walked out of Spirited Away. Their style for this deck looks like a gentle cross, I think, between ukiyo-e art and Japanese manga style. I would totally get a tattoo of like Bubo Plague's art, like with consent, of course. Like I even considered like a couple of these cards. I wish I remembered which ones that they were, but I guess if I don't remember, I wasn't that committed to it. But hey, it's been a thought more than a few times. What deck do I plan to receive by the end of the year? Any deck that portrays liminal spaces without the use of AI. Maybe I'll curate my own. In all seriousness, I don't think I'm actually waiting to get anything this year. I do have a Kickstarter that I backed 2 years ago that I guess I'm still waiting on. It's the Palmyra Campagna Tarot, and it hasn't seen any updates in the last couple months or so. And after a few setbacks that they have actually told us about a while back, I'm not gonna hold my breath for that one. For any backers of that campaign who may or may not be watching, if you want my unsolicited opinion on this, I do not think that she ghosted with malicious intent. Sometimes we just bite off more than we can chew, and it paralyzes us. That's not an excuse, but it is my cope. I do actually plan on backing a project, however. Illuminati is planning a Kickstarter relatively soon, actually, for a mini version of the Black Femme Tarot with some updated art and card specs, and I am actually kind of excited for that one. So that one, I think, goes up August 15th or something like that. I'll link you to her Instagram. I suppose I can link to the Kickstarter campaign when it becomes live. I just have to remember. So what did I learn from this tag? I didn't buy shit this year. I thought I had so many decks to show you guys for this tag that were new, but they were either Kickstarter rewards from last year or they were purchased secondhand. I am going to be totally transparent with you all, however, and say that there was maybe like a 2 to 3 month block where I just didn't partake in my tarot practice just from burnout. I wasn't burnt out with the practice. I was mainly burnt out with work, which then affected my practice. Once I restarted, I found that I was just rekindling with decks that I hadn't used in a while. 2 decks, as a matter of fact, came back from purgatory. The masculine archetype, which I mentioned, and the other one was the Marigold Tarot, which I'm still a little on the fence about, but I am using it. I am still in the process of culling my collection, so you could probably expect to see all the decks in my purgatory box probably within the next few weeks. I guess this year so far, I just haven't really felt the need to bring anything new into my collection or really buy anything. I'm overwhelmed with the number that I have, and I mean, I don't really have much of the space for it either, so I definitely need to rehome a few and then some. Anyways, thanks for joining me today in my VR to my mid-year tarot check-in. I'll get the name right at some point. I feel like I've been alternating between mid-year tarot and mid-year check-in tarot or tarot check-in or whatever. Anyways, thanks for joining me today in my VR to the mid-year tarot check-in tag. There we go, I got it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's make discourse and not war. Until next time, bye!